What is going on, draft sickos? Welcome to the Ground Floor podcast from the Field of 68 with no ceilings. My name is Corey Tullaba, and I am here, as always, with my co-host. We have Tyler Rucker, Tyler Metcalf. You decide which one is the better Tyler. Metcalf, how we doing?
I'm fantastic, and definitely the better one. At least the more intelligent one, and the better at games. But no, basketball has been fantastic. The takes have been scorching hot. This has been a really, really fun college season so far.
We have had some scorching hot takes on this feed about some of these draft prospects that I'm excited to course correct. Rucker, how we doing?
Fantastic. It's been a minute. I'm ready for a fun episode with you guys and get some heat pumping out with the ground floor. So shout out Field of 68. We're going to have some fun.
Yes, we are. Today's episode is going to be a very fun one because we're third of the way through the college season, and we are going to do a war room style mock draft taking us through the lottery. We did a tankathon simulation. So, some interesting results, but nothing too crazy. Some pretty realistic chaos here. So with the first pick, we have the Washington Wizards. With the second pick, Indiana jumps up 3 spots and is going to be picking 2. Then Brooklyn at 3, also jumping up 3 spots. Now some fallers. At 4, we have Atlanta picking via the New Orleans Pelicans. They fell 2 spots. So that kind of massages the blow of the Derek Queen trade a little bit in this scenario. At 5, we have OKC and their embarrassment of riches dropping 2 spots from the Clippers pick. Sacramento at 6, Charlotte at 7, Dallas at 8, Portland at 9, Chicago at 10, OKC back on the clock via Utah at 11, Milwaukee at 12, Memphis at 13, Miami at 14, rounding out the lotto. So the way that this is going to work is that we're going to come up with our picks collectively. We got head of scouting, GM, president of basketball operations. We're all in the room, and we're going to collectively try to figure out what is the best course of action for each NBA team. So we're not going to, do a snake draft. We're going to try to brainstorm together because I don't know if individually we're smart enough for this. We need to put our heads together. So as we said, first pick on the clock, the Washington Wizards. Metcalf, who do you think should be on the minds of the Washington Wizards?
I know it may feel like a little bit of too much positional overlap, but I don't think anyone on this team has solidified themselves as like a guaranteed franchise cornerstone. And for me, Darren Peterson's still at number 1 on my board. No one on this Wizards roster is keeping me from drafting someone else. I think both of the other top 3 guys can make some sense here, but for me, it's still Darren Peterson, despite the hamstring issues. When he's been on the court, he's been excellent, and I still think he's the number 1 guy in this draft.
Rucker, how do you feel about that? Do you have anybody else you'd like to nominate?
No, I actually would go Darren here. You guys give me a tough time every time saying that I hate Darren because I have him at 2, but I think this is the Wizards got to swing. You got to swing for the guy, the superstar that's going to bring everything together and really hit the ground running. And I think Darren's going to be that guy for them. I think he would be fantastic.
All right. Well, if you have Darren at number 2, then who do you have at number 1? I feel like that person we should at least brainstorm here.
Still the booze cruise. No,
still the booze cruise.
I like the upside swing, and you're swinging for a potential, like we need to get a potential superstar. And I think Darren is the better fit there. So I like that.
I mean, I quite like the fit between Cam Boozer and Alex Sarr in the front court. We don't think Boozer has superstar potential, fellas. I know that's a popular narrative, Metcalf. Are we off that?
No, it won't shock me if he averages 24 and 13 for most of his career. And he's very clearly like a future all-NBA guy to me. All he does is produce, all he does is win. And we're seeing the in-season adjustments already with the at-rim finishing stuff, how they're using him as a shot creator, running more inverted pick and roll type of stuff. I still think he's like an elite number 2 offensive option on like at his peak, like on a championship level team. So Rucker, so you have Boozer at 1 on your board. We have the very first pick, and yet you're still not going with Boozer. Riddle me that.
I mean, do we love Trey Johnson? Do we believe in maybe Cam Boozer is not a number one go-to option at the end of a clock, but isn't that what we drafted Trey Johnson for?
I don't think there's a wrong pick here. And I think you do get Trey year 2. You're hoping a really big leap. You get Darren in there, and you need to get some firepower with that backcourt. Alex Sarr's been tremendous this year. It looks like he's going to be a serious building block for them for years to come. So I think pairing him with a running mate in the backcourt that's as dangerous as Darren also makes life easier for Trey. So it's a great fit. If Bub takes another little bit of a bounce back next year, which I'm expecting he will, now you have some options in that backcourt. You have some different type of weaponry with all those guys can play alongside each other. So I personally like Darren there a little bit better.
Okay. We love Kaishan George. I have Darren number 1 on my board as well. So we are going to go majority rules here with Darren Peterson, first overall pick to the Washington Wizards. And now things get interesting, boys. The Indiana Pacers are on the clock. We were in the finals just last season. We dealt with a devastating injury to our franchise guy. You know, our number 2, who does carry the offense at times, especially in the half court, is getting a little older. Where are we going here? Rucker, let's start with you. Pacers are on the clock.
I think we're in the war room right now, we're all just doing backflips that we get to make this pick right now. We're like, hey, we can't miss. I like both of Darren. Excuse me, not Darren. I like both Cam Boozer and AJ here for different reasons, but I think
you can't have 2 girlfriends, man.
No, man.
You can only have one.
Can't do it. Look, I'm gonna shock some folks. I think I would go AJ here.
Okay,
I really do.
Why is Cam Boozer number 1 on your board?
Because I love him. I'm going right now with I'm swinging, and what I've seen with the growth recently from AJ shows me that things are really starting to get dangerous because things are clicking, things are slowing down a little bit, and I'm talking offensively. The playmaking is exactly on pace for what I want to see personally when it comes to development throughout the year. He's really taken strides from. Beginning of the year, we were like, he's missing some reads. Now he's understanding that scoring gravity is creating a lot of stuff. So, look, this is a dangerous upside swing in this class. Like, I think Darren is great. I think AJ's really making a statement right now of like, here comes this monster that's starting to play some really, really good basketball. And if the defense comes along with it, it's a two-way, just dangerous force. In a league that prioritizes finding these all-star wings. So I just like the fit, of getting AJ with that upside long-term. You get Halliburton back in the mix. It's a fun little combo right there.
Are we aware that there is a player on the board who is the most winning player in high school history, who has a team that is undefeated with like a 27-point differential with games against Houston, Alabama, Arizona, Baylor, Texas, Kansas? I mean, are we aware of this situation? Are we scared, Metcalf, to pass on somebody who all he does is win, and we think we're a championship team?
Yeah, and I'm not scared to, because I wouldn't be passing on him right
okay.
now. I love Indiana for AJ. Like, if I'm AJ, that's what I would want. If I was in AJ's camp, I'd be like, please take him, because I think developmentally for him, that'd be incredible. Simplify his offensive decision making. Best place for him to develop.
Learn from Siakam, kind of like, some similar.
Right. One of the best coaches in the history of the league. Elite offensive organizer, and Tyrese Halliburton. But I don't think he fits how Indiana plays. I think way too much of his game is catch, kill the ball, survey, then go. And Indiana plays way too fast. And I think Boozer processes the game at a significantly higher level. I think he's kind of that archetype 4 that they've constantly been searching for. Jarris Walker hasn't unfortunately hit like we hoped he would. I think Cam Boozer would immediately take those minutes from him, probably immediately get into the starting lineup and do all of the little things that everyone on this Indiana team does at a really high level, and that Rick Carlisle values at a really high level.
I couldn't agree with you more. And we're going to take Cam Boozer here for Indiana. I mean, the synergy there, and I understand we have to have the conversation about AJ. Yeah. Maybe we should even have the conversation about our man from UNC, who I know has been getting some love in this conversation. But ultimately, Cam Boozer is everything you want if you're Indiana. In a young guy whose game is mature enough to compete now, who is just going to put his head down, work, not going to worry about being on the graphics or the billboards, just do whatever he has to do to win. So Cam Boozer at number 2. The game might not be sexy, but the results always are. And that's what we care about as an organization in Indiana. At number 3, we are now the front office for the Brooklyn Nets. Metcalf, are we having any conversations or are we running to the podium?
Sprinting to the podium for me. They've, and obviously we're going Michael Brown Jr. here, correct? This team is the last, 3-4 years, they've constantly been searching for this franchise cornerstone type of guy. And AJ DeBonsa is exactly who that could be. If he hits like we think and hope he will, he's going to be an absolute monster. And we're seeing already major short-term growth in his processing speed, how he's seeing the floor, how he's using his scoring gravity to create for teammates. And I think their coaching staff continues to get the most out of the guys on that roster. So I think this would be a great fit for both him and the team.
Rucker, your thoughts?
Home run, absolute dream scenario for Brooklyn. I think you finally get the guy, and now you start to build around the guy. You have some young pieces there. Obviously everyone's going to make the joke about all the point guards they took, but this is a big year for that team in terms of developing these guys. Now you get AJ and Yegor Demen alongside each other. You got size, you got potential. Danny Wolf, I think next year will be a big league guy. Sarif, Nolan Traore, they got some guys you're building now through the draft, but you need to speed up the rebuild. You need the piece, and this is the piece. So I think this is this would be a great landing spot. Like Metcalf said with Indiana, I think that would be AJ's dream, but this is also another dream because you're like, I could be the guy in Brooklyn. His camp would be doing backflips.
Yeah. I mean, you have the market.
Right.
Now, they are the little brother to our friends that just won the NBA Cup, but you're getting the guy, like you guys said, and they're playing a really interesting brand of basketball. AJ's gotten some stylistic comparisons to a guy like SGA, right? Our coach has coached that kind of player before. We'll know how to get the most out of him, develop him. We have guys that we drafted who everyone thought kind of needs the ball in their hands, but are kind of proving that they can also play ancillary styles off of each other and space the floor. So I think this is an incredible fit. I mean, we've seen the growth of AJ as a playmaker, as a guy who we could have made tunnel vision jokes about a few weeks ago, but now is just looking like the guy that we were hoping and always knew he was capable of being. And this makes our rebuild so much easier, because even though we, are picking at number 3, we have a number 1 pick that we got at that spot. So we're very excited. AJ DeBonsa at number 3. So the big 3 stays the big 3. And Atlanta is on the clock via the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans, again, they're saved a little bit, just a little bit, knowing that Derek Queen has been tremendous his rookie season. And they are giving up a top 5 pick, but it's not one of these top guys. So, Rucker, who are you nominating for our pick? We're on the clock, limited time here. What are we doing?
Yeah, look, I'm still going with a guy that I think has been tremendous this year, and I think it's just scratching the surface, which is scary with how much potential he's got ahead. I would go Caleb Wilson here. I know they got Jalen Johnson, but you can't pass up a monster like this. And I think Caleb's got defensive potential to be a real nightmare at the next level. It's been awesome. I know people will question, hey, what his finishing numbers when it's not a dunk, he's dunking everything in the world. And it's like, okay, that's a good problem to have. He's trying to break the rim every single time he gets in the lane. But look, like there's flashes. You got to be patient with this one. The upside's up there with some of the guys that got picked ahead of him. I really do believe that. And defensively, I think there's special stuff that is just waiting to get unlocked. So for Atlanta, a team where you're just thrilled to be picking up here in a stacked draft, I would go Caleb with the highest upside.
Any dissension there, Metcalf?
I don't think so. Obviously, who knows? We're on year 42 of what are they going to do with Trae Young? And I do think if we did this post-trade deadline and maybe they did move him or whatever, I think Michael Brown and Kingston Flemings would be interesting, but the team is what it is right now. Caleb Wilson fits exactly, I know, new front office, but fits exactly the type of guys they've tended to go after in recent history. And I think he's just, I think he's kind of been disappointing on defense, and I think he has so much more to give on that end. And he's already posting incredible defensive playmaking metrics. The mid-range scoring's been a lot of fun. The athleticism getting downhill has been incredible. And as the defense continues to improve, his impact is only going to get better.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to go with Caleb Wilson here. We're going to take the best player available. Yes, there might be some positional overlap. It might make things a little bit sticky for a guy like Richeche, who's, struggling to find his way. But I think this is the perfect situation. Like Trae Young stays, talk about the kind of dunks that he might throw down just off the gravity and the spacing that, and the pace, those hit aheads, with him running the floor. There's so many ways he can find easy buckets. He moves the ball. He's a smart, quick decision maker. Like you said, there's defensive potential. You look at a front line that you can put out there of, I think you can look at Jalen Johnson, Caleb Wilson, and Yeka Okongwu all on the floor at the same time. You have size and feel, and it makes things really interesting. And you take the talent, you figure out the roster building aspect later. Caleb might put on 30 pounds and be a 6'10" monster who can play some 5, right? So that's an exciting pick if you're Atlanta. And you made a great trade because we got our guy in the 2025 draft as well with that trade down. Here's where things start to get interesting. We've dropped 2 spots, but the Clippers owe the pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder now. So the Thunder, defending champions.
Thank God they fell. Because God.
We're still like, goodness, look at this. Literally get some of this guys.
The juggernauts of the NBA just wiping the floor with basically anybody in their path, end up with a top 5 pick in this insane draft. They have great players at every position. We can go in any direction we want, boys. Metcalf, what are we thinking here with a top 5 pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder?
What do you get the team that has everything? I think you still go best player available. And that's how they've tended to go through the draft. They draft guys who fit their culture, who have the most upside, and they don't look for need in the draft. So I'm going Michael Brown Jr.
Okay.
I know it's a little sloppy. It might not be the cleanest fit, cleanest path to minutes, but his numbers are so impressive, and he can't buy an outside shot to save his life right now. I still think he's going to be a good shooter. Once that shot comes around, the numbers and production are going to look even better. And there's a lot. I know there are a lot of guards on OKC, but he has size, athleticism, good. I buy the shooting long term. And they're not going to be able to afford all these guys. So why not reload with someone with his upside?
Okay. Are we set on Michael Brown, Rucker? Do we need to look at any other positions? Do we need to look at Kingston Flemings if we're thinking of going guard? Do we want to look at a guy, maybe Koa Pete? Is it too rich for Hans Steinbeck? I don't know. What are you thinking? Let's have the conversation.
With Metcalf, Michael's the name that's highest on my board, but you also, every Thunder fan or basketball fan could be like, why are they going to take another guard? And it's like, well, you're picking this high. You got to take the best player available, and you don't draft for need here. You get the best talent, and you keep doing what the Thunder have been doing, and no one should complain about that. But I got the next 4 guys on my board are all guards. 3 of them are point guards, and right behind Michael is Kingston Flemings. You could argue maybe Kingston fits their kind of style a little bit smoother potentially, but I also think we haven't seen Michael Brown's best basketball yet. And,
Mhm.
rumors are he's been dealing with a back injury. So it's like, oh, he's been doing this with a banged up back. Okay. We're really going to get scary when he's healthy, hopefully soon. So I could go either way. I guess we're going to let Corey, make the final call, but I like Metcalf's Michael shout. That's a really scary upside. Gosh, adding that to the mix would be terrifying. I just think it's too rich to go, Pete would be a nice fit. There's been reports that maybe this is the year they use all these picks to aggressively move up. So maybe you move up from one of those later picks to try to get someone like Pete in the back half of the top 10. I don't know.
I like Michael here too, because I think that Michael can also play off the ball in a way that I'm not sure Kingston can in the same way. Like not that Kingston can't, but Michael's 3-point volume, if we're looking at potential, salary crunch at some point, which we are, Michael, I think, can fit that Isaiah Joe role, but he also has the kind of dynamic on-ball creation that Isaiah Joe doesn't have potentially. He's been an unbelievable playmaker. Michael Brown's athleticism, I think, is incredibly underrated.
Yeah.
You look at him and you see, a skinny-ish kid, but he's already got 7 dunks plus, and 5 of them are in the half court, like poster type stuff too, not just like, free lane. He will body bag you. So the shots are going to go in. We have a great developmental staff. If we're worried about the shot, we got a pretty good shooting coach. I think that we have another pick coming up in this lotto. Let's just take the high upside guy here.
Yep. I like it.
Real quick before we pivot off this, you guys kind of hinted at this could be the year that OKC, cashes in a bunch of these chips and tries to really aggressively move up. If you were any of those teams in the top 3 and OKC came to you with, in this scenario, pick 5, pick 11, and whatever other future picks, I think they also have 19 and 24 in this draft and, half of the next 25 drafts as well. What would it take for you to move out of one of those top 3 spots? If you're the Wizards, Pacers, or Nets and the draft fell in this order.
Jalen Williams.
But so two, like, probably your lotto picks, 2 futures, and a player.
For me, it's Jalen Williams with the picks, and that's outrageous.
Yeah,
to ask of that, but I'm not moving off that unless I get what I believe is not only great picks, but a foundational player who is established themselves.
Well, it's a great way to end the phone call. Jalen Williams, okay, yeah, we're not going to have any business here. Thank you.
No Jalen Williams. Oh, we'll take Chet. Fine.
We'll take fine. We'll settle for Chet. But that's a great question, Metcalf, and it's just like, what would it be for you?
Probably something the same. Like if I'm the Pacers and I can get Chet or Jalen Williams plus 5, 11, and something else in the future. Yeah, I'm probably doing that.
Yeah,
especially if I'm encouraged about Tyrese coming back, looking like he was last year.
But OKC doesn't move that way. So
no,
right.
They're not gonna. They're the team that swindles.
Yeah.
They're the ones who knock. So don't open that door when they do.
Yeah. Hang up that phone. Like reject. Presti? No. Decline.
Yeah. If they move up into that top 3, somehow they're going to get the top 3 pick and a future asset or something. On top of it somehow. Don't answer, Sam or Rob's phone calls. Okay. So just to go through our top 5, Washington took Darren Peterson with the first overall pick. Indiana selected Cam Boozer. Brooklyn took AJ DeBonsa. The Hawks took Caleb Wilson. And the Thunder took Michael Brown Jr. Sacramento is now on the clock. They dropped down 2 spots in this draft. Just a team that continuously cannot catch a break. Where are we going with the Sacramento Kings, Metcalf?
I'm going to throw Kingston Flemings.
Okay.
I kind of hate the spot for the Kings. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure they know what they're doing. They just kind of need everything, and I hate their roster except for Nick Clifford and Keon Ellis, who can't get minutes for some reason. Maxime Reynaud has also been fun this year, but kind of like I talked about with the Wizards, like no one on this team is someone that I'm really pumped to build around. So kind of starting with a blank slate.
Wow, Rucker, I noticed that he did mention Keegan Murray on there. Are you going to take that?
No,
he's making too much. He's overpaid. He's fine.
Easy.
He's fine. He's fine. They're winning games.
They have to start showcase. They have to start, letting Keegan get shine and all these young pieces get shine. And I feel like the Kings are doing 2K trade finder to try to get rid of some of these vets, and no one wants to give them anything. So,
well, they should stop signing them and trading for them.
I completely agree. That's probably for another episode. Might be a series. I would go Kingston Flemings too. I really do think you got to get a guard. You got to get a table setter. I think Kingston has the intangibles to really, really be a player that the Kings fans and franchise need. High intangibles, good player with good upside, good size. I think he's been unbelievable to start the year. I'm expecting the numbers to come down a little bit because if they don't, he's going to break every record possible. But I think there's so much talent with him, and get him in there, get a young guard that could grow with, Nick Clifford, Keegan Murray. Get the vets out of there. Just start building right now. Start getting some team that's going to make these, fans proud again. And the Kings fans are awesome. So get some youth, get someone that can really help out that backcourt position.
Look, I love Kingston Fleming, but I want to just have the conversation just because we're on the clock and we need to check all our boxes. Kingston Fleming's surrounded by a ton of veterans, right? Not to say he hasn't been incredible in what he's done, but he's not carrying that same load that a guy like LeBaron Philon is having, who is the engine, is, started to finish at the rim at a much higher level, shot the ball at a much higher level, still a fantastic playmaker, could very well be an engine. We didn't talk about Darius Acuff if we're looking at point guard, who almost never turns the ball over, just manages the game at such a mature pace, puts up numbers, impacts winning. Are we sure? Is it Kingston Flemings? Do we need to talk about any of these other guys before we trade them away in a couple of years?
I think we've got to talk about all of them. I think we're quickly finding out with this draft class that if you need a guard, you're going to be doing, a backflip. And I think a lot of these guys could be top 10 picks. So it's going to be kind of, what's your flavor? What do you want? Philon, I love Philon. I'm a big LeBaron Philon guy. I believe he could go earlier than this pick because I think it just takes one team. He's been awesome this year. And Acuff, man, has been tremendous. Just got caught up on his film, and what a year he's having. So I think there's a legit conversation here.
I want to throw a kind of a curveball here and go in a totally different direction.
Makes sense.
Does a guy like Jane Quaintance deserve a little bit of mention here? Because front court on this team, not good. I know Maxime Reynaud has had some fun flashes. I'm not building a team around him. Domantas Sabonis, not the world's greatest rim protector. Getting a little older, struggling with injuries this year. I know Quaintance is hurt right now. We haven't seen him on the court for Kentucky yet. But if you're just going full rebuild and you want to build from the inside out and just kind of establish and get that defensive cornerstone from day one with some really fun passing upside, does he deserve a look here?
I think undoubtedly. I mean,
I like that.
He made Arizona State watchable last year.
Yeah, did he? No, I'm kidding.
As close as possible.
Tolerable?
That's there we go.
You at least put them on one of the four boxes on YouTube TV.
Yes, you tried.
The defensive impact is real. He's one of the most special defensive prospects I think that we've had, because it's not only the rim protection, it's his ability to switch out on the perimeter and slide and guard. I mean, we saw him at the Nike Hoop Summit when he was 16 years old. And I was like, oh, who's that 28-year-old dude that they let on the court?
He got his driver's license yesterday.
It's like his learner's permit. And so if you're a team that doesn't really have an identity, defense is a good place to start, right? We like Keegan, the floor spacer. in the long term. I think you could play those two together. The offensive questions are going to be there, and we don't have a lead guard that's going to get the most and make Jaden's life easy, but he's so young that we have time to figure that out before we trade them in a couple of years. And so I think that's a good call out, but we're up against it. We're on the clock. We got to do final votes here. Rucker, final vote, Sacramento. We got to get it in.
I'm gonna stick with Fleming's. I like Metcalf's shout. That's a good wrinkle to think of. It could make some sense if JQ returns and looks as good as we hope. But also the quick point is this team's gonna be really interesting after the deadline because they might be selling Sabonis. Keon Ellis has been rumored. We're gonna find out if they're blowing it up, and if they do blow it up, maybe Metcalf's onto something and starting from inside out makes a little bit more sense. But I'll say Fleming's.
Are they selling it or are they leaving it on the porch on Facebook Market?
Oh yeah, they're just like, hey, make me an offer. Could be fun if you fix it.
All right, so we have one for Fleming's.
I'm going to stick with Fleming's.
Okay, well. So we're going Kingston Fleming's here.
Good discussion.
Good discussion. Majority rules. Sacramento. Welcome Kingston Fleming's like the beam. Something to be excited about for about 2.5 years. Okay, Charlotte is on the clock. Pick 7. Con Knipple.
Fun pick now, huh? First year, this is a fun pick to that.
One of the most insane rookie seasons from a guard prospect that I can remember, especially one that everyone was so concerned about his athleticism at the next level. We got our building block. We still have Brandon Miller. We have our wild card in LaMelo. We got our center in Kalkbrenner. Metcalf, who are you nominating for our pick here for the Hornets?
I want more center depth and long-term upside. I'm going back to Jane Quaintance.
Okay. Talk to me. What's the fit like with him and Kalkbrenner? Can they play together?
Probably not, but
okay.
You can have like an actual center and guy who can play interior defense on the court at all times instead of for the 20 or how many minutes is Kalkbrenner getting for the 25 and a half that Kalkbrenner's playing and then not. Moussa Diabate's fun. Jane Quaintance should at least be way better. So yeah, I just think adding front court depth and upside, and Quaintance is almost like 8 years younger than Kalkbrenner. That might be in a bit of a hyperbole, but
you're not far off.
But it's not that far off. So I think long-term upside, keep it simple, and you have 2 elite rim protectors on the court, or at least one elite rim protector on the court, basically at all times.
We like JQ's kind of passing feel on the offensive end. We saw the synergy that Khan had with Malawach at Duke and being able to play in pick and rolls and throw lobs so you can make, his life easy, let him score efficiently while, manning the defense. And he didn't do a terrific job at it, but he was shooting threes his freshman season, right? So maybe we get that right, and all of a sudden Calc and JQ can play together, and we just have an insane defensive infrastructure around our, really dynamic offensive players. Rucker, any other names that we need to get to here?
I'm going to go with Metcalf with Quaintance. I think it's tough always with this team projecting like, okay, are they going to have LaMelo moving forward? Are they going to finally move on? I feel like that's been like buzz rumblings we've heard for the last couple of years. And it's like, well, they aren't moving on. So could Acuff be in the conversation potentially? If he keeps this up, could it be a LeBaron Philon? Maybe, but I like Metcalf's idea of you get the high upside swing big man, you keep building the trenches, Kalkbrenner and him together. You don't have to play him at the same time because you probably can't figure that out, but Quaintance makes that defense better. Kalkbrenner is a fantastic piece. Now you have 2 bigs really that can play minutes. One comes out, you still have that great impact in the interior. So I like that. It's a big upside swing that you can be patient with.
All right. I think that JQ is a good pick there. You get the upside, you get a little bit of safety, high floor, high ceiling. And we already have our offensive engine, so we just got to lock things down. All right, at 8, who's going to be Cooper Flagg's teammate in Dallas?
Turns out Cooper Flagg's good, huh?
Yeah, it seems like it.
But does he have a bag? It makes you think.
If he doesn't have one, what is Cam Boozer working with? A wallet? I don't.
Wild insult on him today. We'll keep that off the air.
Cooper, broke the rookie record for most points by an 18-year-old, I believe.
Yeah, I did.
Youngest player ever. He's pretty good. We've seen the impact that having a guy like Ryan Nembhard has had in kind of easing his transition throughout his rookie season, and that's a rookie point guard. Do we feel like we need more depth there? Do we need somebody else to run on the wing? What are you thinking, Rucker? If you're Dallas here, what are some names that you're throwing at us?
I still personally love the idea of Phylon there. Personally, that's just one that I can't get out of my head. I think just his upside, the smoothness, his ability to kind of get in between, the lane and kind of create could be fun with Cooper Flag. I think Braylon Mullins is a name we haven't brought up too. That would be really fun addition there. I know probably Clay is going to be on the way out, but Mullins, I think, is going to start finding his groove after, missing the first couple weeks of the season. I think he's going to be really putting up some big numbers for UConn. After that, I think you're either going point guard depth or is Hans Steinbach potentially a little bit of a swing, but who knows what's going on with Derek Lively. I know he's a little bit banged up, got some injury stuff. So I would go Phylon, but I think this is a good conversation to have. There's a lot of fun names on the board.
Metcalf, any names you'd like to nominate?
Yeah, the two I'm looking at are Braylon Mullins and Darius Acuff. For a lot of the same reasons. I love Mullins as an off-ball shooter, smart passer, really good defender. And then Acuff, just every time I watch him, I just get more and more impressed. He's playing incredible right now, and I love how much better he's been about kind of flowing between that on and off ball role this year at Arkansas, something he didn't really do at IMG his senior year, where he was just so ball dominant, understandably so, but he's doing a much better job of kind of taking a step back when he needs to, stepping up and initiating everything when he needs to. And I think having that table setter and having him learn from Kyrie would be really, really fun long term.
I think we've all been impressed by Acuff. He's driving, winning. Are we missing out on an Avdalas conversation? I know you really liked him early in the year. Have things changed with Avdalas? Can we get some size from our initiator next to Cooper too? Is that a name we should talk about?
I'm not loving that he's picking his dribble up every time a defender makes contact with him. That hasn't been my favorite thing in the world, and he's just not looking to get to the rim ever. He's really good at getting to the free throw line, and that first initial paint touch, he rarely gets deeper than that, though. So that's been really frustrating. I know he had another 30-point game the other day, but it's like Western Carolina or something. So no offense, but I don't really care about that. So yeah, and if Dallas fell a little further, I think it'd make a little more sense, but this is unfortunately starting to get a little rich for me.
I'm like an Acuff here.
I like that.
Constant.
He's been awesome.
Touch. Yeah, the on ball, off ball. He carries himself like a pro.
Yeah,
and I think getting to play next to Cooper, could be really dynamic. And then you still have Kyrie there. You got the depth with Ryan Nembhard. I don't necessarily love that you can't really play the three of them together as much as you'd like.
Yeah.
But who knows? We get creative now in spurts, right? So Rucker was Phylon. I know Metcalf.
I'm good with Acuff.
Did you commit? Are we?
Yeah.
Are we good with Acuff?
Yeah,
all right.
I'll go Acuff. And I mean, God, he's shooting the crap out of the ball too.
He's been unbelievable.
Like good volume and insane playmaking efficiency. He's been so good.
Yeah, over 5-1 assist turnover his last 5 games, and he's had some big time opponents mixed in those games. So it's not just beating up on Western Carolina. Just so many strays. Portland is on the clock. Boys, we're not afraid to swing in Portland.
No, we're not.
We like taking the upside. The mystery of Shaden Sharp, no problem. Bring him in. Young Hansen, not on a single mock in the first round, we think differently. Are there wild cards on the board that might intrigue us here?
Tyler Tanner. No, I'm kidding. Wild card.
And God, they need a point guard. So.
Get back, please. There's so many names. Portland every year is becoming the biggest headache to try to project because we're always like, oh, this is what they would do. And then all of a sudden they take Young Hansen and we're like, what? I like Mullins here a lot, guys. That's the one name. I'm like, I really like Mullins there. But I also have no idea. Shout out our boy Mike Schmitz. I have no idea what Portland wants to do because I really like the team they're building, but what direction do you shift it in now?
You know, we think Dame's going to come back healthy.
Mm-hmm.
We still believe in Scoot. Denny has been unbelievable.
Yeah,
yes, he has.
Tamani, we love.
Yeah.
We think he's a foundational piece. We think we got Shaden on a steal of a deal.
Yes.
But our depth does look thin at times.
Corey set this up for a heck of a domination.
And Caleb Love is getting a little too many reps at times. I mean, we love Klingon. You know, I think our center spot is pretty full. I just took a trip down under, boys.
Oh God.
No, absolutely not if you're going there.
How are we feeling about Kareem Lopez as a potential wild card front court swing? Young, 18 years old, second year pro. The analytics department is saying that the streets aren't loud enough. The analytics are off the chain. We think he's been hidden in the same way that Yang has, and people aren't paying attention. We think we can get value. Why is the analytics department wrong right now, Metcalf?
Asking the right guy.
What did the film tell you?
Well, you know, I know the film told me early in the year it didn't look great, but we knew that he was dealing with a rough back injury. He got sick, really sick, and you know, somewhere around, you know, this point of the season, he really turned things around and started to look a little more fluid. You know, he's playing low usage, but we got guys who are going to carry that usage already. We think he might have some versatility defensively. We just need to get him coached up. We love the defensive identity that, you know, our Thiago Splitter is bringing to our franchise. We have a box. When you lock somebody up, you put your name in, you get a prize at the end of the year. Look, we don't have, I'm just throwing names out. We want to keep people on their toes. If you got another nomination, tell me the nomination.
It's a little
go ahead, Metcalf. Go ahead.
No, just I'm glad that he's trending in the right direction and hopefully just staying healthy from here on out. But as of December 17th, when we're recording this, I don't see a whole lot of difference between him and Chris Murray, City Sissoko. I'm not sure what the major differential there is.
We have a type. We like Jeremy Grant, DB Hooper. We like these guys.
Yeah, and it's
Ryan Rupert.
And it's done enough to get us the 9th pick. So I would be looking in a different direction. And if we're going off-ball wing, I think Braylon Mullins gets me a lot more excited. If we're looking for another table setter with a little more size, I know I just said it was a little rich of pick ago, but Neo Avdilas, I think, makes a little bit more sense. LeBaron Philon makes a lot of sense as well. Do
we think that Braylon Mullins is a definitively better pick than a Keaton Wadler from Illinois?
Now you're speaking my language a little.
Okay, so talk to me.
Well, I think we're getting into that conversation where if Keaton keeps trending this way, I think this is going to be a little bit of the wild card to keep an eye on. It's a 6'6" guard who really impressed me with some playmaking flashes. He can shoot a little bit, and I think there's a ton of upside. There's a lot of stuff that's just kind of scratching the surface. He would need to be really trending like this consistently for the rest of the year. But I think we're getting to that point where it's like, well, there's the swing. if you're getting towards that end of the top 10. My hot take is, could you try to maybe reach a little bit for someone that could help you a little sooner? And instead of Kareem Lopez, just give me Thomas Houck. Give me some nastiness. Give me someone that could come in and space the floor a little bit and bring some energy. I don't know. So this is Portland. We do this every year. We discuss 45 guys for one pick. It's unbelievable.
Final thoughts, Metcalf.
I need more. Oh God, I need more shooting.
I can't do
I'm gonna go
Kareem.
Mullins. I'm gonna go Mullins.
I'll go Mullins.
All right, Braylon Mullins. Keep Portland
Can't
weird.
believe-
You are gonna join fellow UConn alumni Donovan Clingan.
It's a good one.
I think it would be a good pick.
Yeah.
You know, no pressure to come in, set the world on fire. All right, the Chicago Bulls are on the clock at pick 10, seemingly where they pick every single year. Now, our front office, we know we have a type.
What's your type? We want Corey's type. Resident Bulls fan.
My type is a 6'1" lefty with a 6'6" wingspan and some inconsistent shooting this year. I'll never give up on Tahad Pettiford, guys.
Never give up.
Never give up on him. If you want the guy that I would personally nominate, start thinking about nominating right now, I'm thinking of a guy like Cameron Carr.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we knew that he had some buzz coming into college, you know, went to a situation that didn't work out for him and has just completely revived his stock this year. 20 point per game scorer, carrying a 25% usage. I mean, for a guard, unbelievable shot blocker. He's got a 7'2" wingspan. You know, we like length in Chicago. Versatile shot maker, can shoot with a hand in his face, doesn't necessarily need the ball. Is going to be able to play off Josh Giddey. You want him at the 2, you want him at the 3. He's got the length. We know he needs to put on some weight, but we think he could play fast. He'll get out and run. That's the direction that I'm thinking if I'm not going to take Kareem Lopez, which is the kind of player that Chicago would take every single year, which is a 6'8" to 6'9" wing with maybe questionable shooting, which they've done every year since Arturas Karnisovas has taken over the team. But I'm thinking Cam Carr.
Okay.
Gosh, there's so many guards that I'm like.
Can I throw out a Hans Steinbeck
You certainly
an
can.
interior presence? Nikola Vuc's unrestricted free agent after this year. Zach Collins, unrestricted free agent after this year. That leaves Patrick Williams, Jalen Smith as the remaining bigs. I think Steinbeck is obviously an elite rebounder. I think he's a much better defender than he's gotten credit for. There's some fun passing upside there, maybe some pick and pop stuff down the road, but just really controls the paint on both ends of the floor.
Rucker, what are your feelings?
I like Hans. I think that's a good shout. I think Chris Sinak would be someone the Bulls would like to swing for because of the upside, but I think a really smart pick by the Bulls would be getting someone like Hans that could probably come in right away, help you with rebounding, the little things. Sinak would just be you got to be patient, but the upside's tremendous. But I like Hans here. I would go there.
I'm not sure if we want to give Coach
The Bulls a good pick.
Billy Donovan a stroke in some more developmental raw pieces to develop.
Please no.
You know what? If the Bulls walked away with Hans Steinbeck, I think for a team that wants to run, the first part of that is securing rebounds, and he gets basically every one. So plays fast and on both ends. So he's going to also get the misses. I think he's a pretty nifty passer. Some floor stretching ability. I'm good with Hans Steinbeck there.
You get executive override here. This is your team.
Yeah.
So if you want to go Cam Carr, you can veto the scouting.
I like the shout. I like
you guys sold me on Steinbeck.
Okay.
You guys
this
sold me.
mock. Wow.
All right.
People are just going to hate this mock, and I love it.
They're going to love it. We're through 10 picks. We got Darren Peterson at number 1 to the Wizards. We have Cam Boozer, number 2 to the Pacers. AJ DeBonsa to number 3 to the Brooklyn Nets. Caleb Wilson to the Hawks at 4. Michael Brown Jr. to the Thunder at 5. Kingston Fleming to Sacramento at 6. Jaden Quaintance to the Hornets at 7. Darius Acuff to the Mavericks at 8. Braylon Mullins to the Trailblazers at 9. Hans Steinbach to the Chicago Bulls at 10. And wouldn't you know it, the Oklahoma City Thunder are back on the clock, boys. We took Michael Brown Jr. Rucker, we're going to keep this pick. So where are we going?
Heck yeah, we are. Because we build through the drafts like most people should. God. Bylines is on the board still, but we just took Michael Brown and we can't play 5 guards. We probably could, but we can't. Or look, I'm a big Thomas Sorber guy. He's obviously missing this year with the injury, but I think next year you're going to get a really talented big man back. Hartenstein, you're kind of eyeing that future down the road. I believe he's got one more year, but I want a guy that could help us now. A couple of names I'm looking at. I like Thomas Houck and I like Yaxel Lindenberg. I think could be really nice pieces for the Thunder. So yes, a little older. Thunder like to draft guys usually that are still some upside swings, but I also think this is the type of pick you got your upside with Michael Brown. Now you can get someone that could help you out right away if you have to make some difficult roster decisions. So I like either of those names. Give me some toughness. Let's push this dynasty a little bit.
Yaxel is breaking every advanced analytic this year. Do we feel like we can get him in our non-lottery picks? Can we package those and trade up?
Yeah,
he's
19 and 24 as well.
He's like 24 years old.
Yeah.
We think Houck's probably going to be there at one of those picks too. So if we think they're comparable, I think we can be patient there. Metcalf, do you got any names?
Oh man, I like
go get your guy
a lot.
Go get your guy.
I think Cameron Carr makes a lot of sense here.
Ooh, now we're cooking.
And I mean, I don't feel like these guys are necessarily Thunder type of players, but I mean, we haven't even talked about Chris Senek, Nate Ament, or Koa Pete at all. I'm
not sure that Nate Ament is not a Thunder player. I mean, you have to realize we took Ousmane Dieng a couple of years back, 1 pick ahead of Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
And we know that Nate maybe struggled a little bit at Tennessee. Not the first, probably not the last. We saw with Cam Carr, who you nominated, what it meant for him to get away from that situation.
Yeah.
And how he exploded. Nate had a ton of talent, was a potential, party crasher into that top 3 coming into the year. Maybe we didn't feel that way, but, there was discourse about it. Had some monster moments against, his contemporaries in high school, leading, not one of these dominant prep teams. I don't know if we can discount it. Tall, dribble, pass, shoot, maybe conceptually is what we're seeing at Tennessee, but we've seen it in other settings. Maybe we should have a deeper conversation. We already got Michael Brown Jr. Now we got a guy who could 6'9", 6'10", who could potentially do these things, and we believe in our development and that infrastructure. No pressure on him to be the guy. Should we have a longer conversation?
He was much better in the Louisville game too. I know he still can't create anything on ball, but I thought that was the best his passing has looked, and there were some much better defensive possessions as well.
I got one more name that today was like, this guy is going to end up on the Thunder. I'm going to throw out Keaton Wagler.
Okay.
I know we took Michael, but give me another 6'6" guard that has pass, shoot, upside. I don't know how they can do this and get away with drafting so many guards, but it's also like, I think the Thunder just give us another good guy. Fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got enough height to play on the wing, right?
Is that your Isaiah Joe replacement we're talking about earlier, or do they, move on one of these guys that's under contract?
Is he your Aaron Wiggins replacement?
There you go. Aaron Wiggins' replacement is a sharpshooter with great feel and passing and tremendous upside that's still 18 years old. So that's another name I would throw out. Going to draft every guard in the world.
I think we can get the older guys a little bit down the board.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Metcalf. I think the names are going to be Cam Carr, Keaton Wagler, Nate Ament.
Those are 3 fun names. I'm going to mix it up a little. I'll go Cam Carr.
Rucker.
I'll go Cam Carr.
All right, Cameron Carr. We love wingspan. It's worked out swell for us.
The kid is playing with so much joy right now. It's awesome to watch. So yeah, what a fun fit that would be.
Tough. We like his mentality. All right. So the Thunder walk away with Michael Brown Jr. and Cameron Carr in the lottery to their championship right there. Now things are going to get interesting. It's the Milwaukee Bucks are on the clock. We are running this team. Let's operate under the assumption that we did not trade Giannis. We made some kind of move to help us bring another player in, which means that we didn't make a move. We said we're going to be patient because if we made a move, this pick's probably somewhere else. But we have Ryan Rollins, who we are in love with and think, is a foundational piece now. Miles Turner's on our team. Rucker, nominate somebody for the Milwaukee Bucks.
It's one of my least favorite rosters in the NBA besides 3 pieces now with Ryan Rollins. Because after that, it gets just disgusting. Yeah. And why I'm saying that is you have to just take best player available because you need to start building some depth, in my opinion. I think LeBaron Philon being on the board here for them is still a big get. I like Philon and Rollins playing together. I think also you just have, like I said, you have to get depth. You got to build this roster out. Milwaukee's really struggled with the draft, like building through the draft lately. They've took some swings and then, the AJ Johnson swing shocked us all and then they gave up on that. But you got to get someone and have a future foundation to build around now. So I would say Philon.
Metcalf.
Very open to anyone though.
Yeah, I have a very open mind here because I hate this spot for them a lot. Like conceptually, I think Chris Senek and Nate Ament make a ton of sense.
We have Bobby Portis at home.
Exactly. And it's like, well, do they do anything for them now? I think Neo Avdilas is worth a shout here. They can't seemingly quit Kevin Porter Jr. for some reason. There's way too much Kyle Kuzma going on for my liking. I think I'd lean Neo right now, but I am very open-minded with this pick.
All right, so it seems like the 2 guys we're bouncing between are Neo and LeBaron Philon. Neo's got the positional size, and I know this roster, we have more opportunities potentially for him to have the ball in his hands, but I don't know how much I believe in him without the ball in his hands at this point. And I like
not a whole lot of movement and whatnot.
And I like Ryan, being able to play with the ball in his hands. I think we're going to go Philon here. Really dynamic. I think he's already proven he can play with or without the ball, right? He did that as a freshman where he didn't have the ball a ton. He is sharing the court with other guys who do create. He's used to an NBA style offense, made significant leaps this year. And I think this is great value for him. And I think you have your backcourt set. We have Giannis, we still need some veterans there in that backcourt as well. But I think LeBaron Philon is the move here.
I like that.
All right. And now let's go to pick 13. Cam Spencer's Memphis Grizzlies. We're very
Spencer
analytical.
Brothers.
We're analytical.
White dudes are back right now.
Laxbro basketball players are back. We're an analytical organization, guys. That's how we found a lot of our players. That's why we weren't afraid to take Zach Edey in the top 10 when everybody said that it was crazy, except for that guy that was on that field of 68 mock draft. I forget Corey something from No Ceilings.
Sounds like a prick.
Where are we going? Because there's one guy on the board who is dominating the analytics.
Yeah, so
I like the fit.
So we're going Yaks.
I like the fit.
I
Yaks
mean,
and Zach Edey sound like a buddy cop movie.
you know what?
Yaks
I
and
think
Edey?
That's a tough front court that rebounds everything. Yaks is shooting the ball this year. You know, we got our guy, Cedric Coward, looking like a potential star.
3 would be fun.
To get eyes on him tonight.
I mean, that front court. And then we got Jaren Jackson. You know, like Yaks is going to come off the bench and kind of be the Brandon Clark replacement, almost, you know, Brandon Clark juiced up. We found Jalen Wells. We liked his profile. We like Javon Small's profile. I mean, Scottie Pippen, like,
yeah. You're building dudes again. You're building a culture if you get Yaks in there with that. Like, you're getting some alpha mentality back in the grind city.
We don't care about the age.
That. No,
the Thunder messed up. They thought they were going to be able to get Yaks a little bit later on the board. They didn't realize they couldn't because we were here.
I'll say
Axel Lindeborg, welcome to Memphis.
Metcalf's a Michigan man. He can't say no to that. So that's a fun fit.
That is a fun fit. And rounding out, last pick of the lottery, the Miami Heat are on the board. Who fits into Heat culture? Metcalf.
Oh, God.
Let's get some nominations.
I'm going to throw out Keaton Wagler.
Okay.
I like that. That's a nice pick.
And I'm still not totally convinced he should come out this year because he is so skinny. But that kid can flat out play.
He can play. If he goes back, he's going to skyrocket.
He'll be a top
If
5
he has
pick.
a good offseason, he'll be a top 10 pick easy. That kid is like this. But today, before this pod, I got caught up on his. Oh my goodness, he can play.
His left hand, like offhand passing, is like one of my favorite micro skills.
Yes,
from anybody.
I liked his offense, and then I got his passing. I was like, oh my gosh. I like that. I said it earlier. I think if he keeps playing like this, and we could be hearing his name a lot earlier, but I'm also with Metcalf. I don't know if he should 100% declare right now.
Look, other guys left on the board. Koa Pete has dropped.
Yep.
We haven't had conversations about Koa. Came out, put out, you know, one of the most impressive performances of the entire season from any prospect opening night. Leading or being a part of the best team in college basketball, arguably. We didn't mention Tunde Yusufu at all. Maybe he fits our culture. I mean, Chris Senek, we're not afraid to take swings on certain guys like that. Worked out with Khalil Ware. We knew that Senek was a guy who was willing to be coached. That whole coaching staff has nothing but great things to say about how he took that coaching. Nate Amen is on the board. I mean, a lot of guys have fallen. So do we need to consider any of those guys? We like Wagler. We think he's good. I think he could play. But are we going to bypass the guys who we know have that 5-star talent?
This roster is just...
Metcalf, what are we thinking?
I think I'm still going to stick with Wagler. I get the intrigue of those other guys, but for me right now, it's still a lot of intrigue and still a lot of the idea. And I think a lot of what Wagler's shown has been a little more consistent, weirdly enough. Koa's highs have been incredible. His lows have also been some of the most concerning for any of the preseason lottery guys. Same with Ament. So yeah, I don't know if you could play Koa with like half of the Heat's roster. So I think the spacing on that team would be really, really brutal.
Well, that's never stopped us before. All right, Rucker. Final call.
It's just tough because, you know, this is why at no ceilings, and every year we stress this. It's like, hey, we're in December. guys don't hit their groove right out of the gate sometimes. Sometimes we get to, conference play and tournament time, and then we start to see the light switch come on. So yeah, right now we could look back in 4 or 5 months and be like, we didn't have Ament going in the lottery. What were we thinking? Or we didn't have Koa here, but it's just like, I'm with Metcalf. The highs have been nice with those guys. The lows have been very low and concerning in some areas. So this is tough because
Corey, where would you
roster.
Go?
Yeah, where would you go? Because look, I like Snack. I'm probably one of the higher guys at No Ceilings on Snack.
He's highest guy.
It makes no sense. Yeah. It makes no sense to just draft another version of Khalil Ware that's like potentially going to have more upside, but you got to be way patient with Snack. I like Thomas Houck a lot, probably more than most people. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense with this roster right now. I still think they want to swing upside a little bit. So I like the Wagler, sorry. They just took Kasparis last year, who I think year 2 will be a big leap guy. And guys like Tunde have struggled as well. So it's kind of wide up in the air.
I like Koa Pete here. I still am a big believer in Pete. We talk about, all right, highs have been high. His highs have not just been high. They have been like, oh, he's a top 5 pick in any draft high. Young guy playing in a winning situation. Also one of the more winning prospects throughout his grassroots career. Plays off of people, untapped potential, because if he shoots threes eventually, and we think we'll get him to shoot threes in the NBA, because that mid-range game is smooth. And it might not be there yet, but we're not looking for next year. We're looking down the line. We're not competing for a championship right now. At pick 14, Koa Pete, entire family of athletes. We know he's going to buy into Heat culture. Not going to have to worry about this guy passing our fitness test. That's a guy I'm willing to bet on.
I get it.
Last year, Kasparis fell into our laps.
We talk about Cam Boozer all the time with his resume coming into the year of a winner. Koa Pete's right up there with him. And Koa Pete's tough. The intangibles, the background with his family are all athletes or played in the NFL. Like, you're spot on. The highs are amazing, and it's been against really tough competition on the road, like tough, impressive games. I think the playmaking has impressed me a little bit more than I was expecting. I know there's some questions of the outside shot. Like, there's times where people are daring him, and he's like, I'm not going to shoot it. But the mid-range is smooth. He works to get to his spots. He's a tough player. So Heat culture, yes. If they buy that, absolutely, it would be a great value pick for someone like that could just be a high floor player you're hoping.
All right, so last call. Metcalf, who are you going with?
I'm fine with Pete.
Oh, I'm glad you're fine with it. You sound excited.
I have him in this range. Yeah. I'm
I have him around there. Yeah, it's one of those picks you're like, all right, hey, this would be he just had a phenomenal pre-draft process with us. Whole room's ecstatic to get the character in the building.
Pat Riley's stoked right now. He feels blessed. He feels blessed. All right, guys, that's our lottery. That's our War Room style mock. Quicker than I thought we were going to get this done.
Yeah, me too. That was
less name calling. Pace. Usually, for our No Ceilings Plus subscribers, cursing at each other. There's a reason it's paywall.
Taking 2 hours.
It's really inappropriate. So let's run through the results one final time. The Washington Wizards had the first pick. They took Darren Peterson. With the number 2 pick, the Pacers took Cam Boozer. With the 3rd pick, the Nets took AJ DeBonsa. Atlanta had the 4th pick. They took Caleb Wilson. With the 5th pick, Michael Brown Jr. went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sacramento took Kingston Flemings at 6. The Hornets took Jaden Quaintance at 7. The Mavericks took Darius Acuff at 8. The Blazers took Braylon Mullins at 9. The Bulls took Hans Steinbach at 10. The Thunder took Cam Carr at 11. The Milwaukee Bucks took LeBaron Philon at 12. The Memphis Grizzlies and their analytics staff took Yaxel Lendeborg at 13. And Pat Riley and Heat Culture at 14 selected Koa Pete. That is our War Room style mock. Thoughts? Are we happy?
Yeah, I think this turned out pretty good.
Turned out pretty good. It's going to be interesting to kind of monitor the progress, but I think that's I like it. There's still some good value on the board, and that's why this class is going to be special.
Look, I mean, guys, we didn't select. We didn't even bring up Pat Gamba at any point, and I think he's a guy who might end up being in that conversation. Tunde Yusufu is still on the board. Chris Sinek still on the board. Nate Ament still on the board. Thomas Haug, Neo Abdallas on the board. I mean, that's probably, the guys who dropped the most from where we were in the preseason. I didn't nominate any short guards for you guys. Bennett Sturtz is a guy who we didn't mention.
Yep.
Who, we know that college basketball fans are going to love. We love. Media scouts love. But we think that NBA scouts might be a little lower on, unless he really turns on the paint touches this year. So a lot of talent still on the board. Names that didn't go. Keaton Wagler, we talked about a couple of different spots, right? I don't think a team like Portland would be scared to take him if they thought he was really, he can go in the top 10. Will he? Kareem Lopez, I mentioned him for all of the inconsistencies in the tape that maybe we've seen this year for whatever circumstance. He's still a big, strong dude that has had incredible numbers as well at, a position that teams value. So we're a third of the way through the year. There's more basketball to be played. And when we do this exercise again, it could look completely different. But this is why mock drafts are fun, I think, because when you really put yourself in the mind of the teams, you start seeing how guys drop every year because all of the teams have different boards and approaches. So we did our best to try to think like those teams, and I like it.
Turned out good.
Yeah,
good.
That was fun. We will be back for more NBA draft talk all year here on the Field of 68. This is the ground floor with the No Ceilings crew. My name's Corey Tulaba. You can pick out whichever Tyler you want. Follow us on socials at No Ceilings. You can head to NoCeilingsNBA.com for written work